Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4 o'clock, and so we want to begin sharp here. I'd like to welcome you to Low Load Insurance Services' 8th webinar of 2011. The scrolling slides that you saw moments ago filled you in on some CE information and some other essential information for you. If you missed any of that, please be sure to visit the education page of our website for that information. Today's presentation is about disability insurance and how it can help your clients, all of them, from the news reporter to the neurosurgeon. It will last about 50 minutes with a break for questions at slide 19. Those questions will come from those submitted online, so please submit those questions you have as you're going through the presentation. At the end of the presentation, we'll take questions from raised hands on the screen, opening the phone line for that individual so that we can avoid unnecessary background noises. And remember, to ask verbal questions, you must have logged in using your audio PIN number provided when you logged in. Now a bit about your presenters today. We've got Mark Maurer and Kathy Copack. Mark is living proof that sometimes tradition is a good thing. He joined LLIS in 2003 and assumed his current role as president in 2008. He has earned his CFP designation, and that complements his bachelor degree in business and finance and his MBA. Earlier in his career, he managed market operations for an engineering trading company and financial operations for an international shipping company. Mark is a member of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors and a popular speaker for financial organizations, including the Alliance of Cambridge Advisors, NAPFA, Garrett Planning Network, LIMRA, LOMA, and Society of Actuaries. He's also a contributing insurance resource to industry publications, including Businessweek, Bloomberg.com, Forbes, NAPFA Advisor, AMA Physician's Guide to Financial Planning, and Jane Bryant Quinn's book, Making the Most of Your Money Now. Kathy is our disability insurance specialist. She's been in the insurance industry since 1982. She spent 10 years with Celtic Life managing the company's operations and corporate regulatory compliance. She came to Low Load in May of 2005 with 12 years of agency experience in the following roles: Vice President of Practice Management, Marketing, New Business Development, and Agent Training. Kathy has a medical background that's a bonus to clients as they navigate the underwriting process of DI. So without further ado, I give you Kathy.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me this afternoon. Today's webinar will zero in on some specific aspects of disability income insurance, and by no means will we be covering it in its entirety. This presentation will give you a good idea about why your client should be considered for disability insurance. I am, as always, available at any time to discuss your client's specific situations with you. What we're going to cover today is Social Security, classifications, transitional occupation definitions, underwriting, increased limits and participation, and last, multi-life discounts. First of all, let's talk a little bit about why your client should need disability. As a financial planner, I'm sure you review your client's need for disability, and if your client should become disabled and can no longer generate an income, I'm sure that you would know better than anyone how it would negatively impact his entire financial plan for the future, in addition to his immediate needs to pay his mortgage, utility bills, insurance, savings for college, etc. I hope by now that I've gotten your attention and given you some food for thought about why it's important to explore disability with your clients. Disability income insurance is so important for your clients because there are more than 3,000 medical conditions that can disable your clients. The most common claims are musculoskeletal or connective tissue claims, coming in at 31%, and split equally between cancer and injury and accidents, it is 12%. The #1 long-term claim for disability is strokes. Let's talk about all those types of medical conditions and everything in between. Social Security. On the low end, the news reporter, some think Social Security will take care of them. On the high end, the neurosurgeon, they don't think they'll need disability insurance. But here are some increased requirements in order to be eligible for Social Security through the government. First of all, you shouldn't allow your clients to rely on Social Security because it is a false sense of security. We're going to dispel some myths that you've heard about the government Social Security program and why your clients think the government will take care of them is such a bad idea. First of all, criteria for applying for disability insurance through the Social Security plan, you must be expected to die within 12 months, or your disability should be expected to last a minimum of 12 months, and you're not eligible for benefits until you've been continually disabled for 5 months. In addition, you must not be able to earn an income greater than $1,000 a month. 2/3 of applicants that apply for disability benefits are turned down the first time. 3 years is the average time to get a claim through Social Security income. How many of your clients can go that long without an income? According to Jane Bryant Quinn, you usually have to go through an appeals process and hire an attorney in order to get your claim appealed. In addition, the average monthly benefit through Social Security is $1,070. How many of your clients can live on $1,000 a month? Recently, applications have grown to over nearly 50% than they were a decade ago. Claims for disability typically increase in a bad economy. The reason for this is simply because many disabled people feel as if they will be losing their jobs, so they will fake a bad back or some other ailment and apply for disability benefits in order to secure an income rather than risk losing their job. Lastly, congressional estimates say that the trust fund that supports Social Security disability will run out of money by 2017. Our next topic is classifications. Classification is a tool used by insurance companies to measure the risk involved in your client's occupation, and the reason for that is because it affects their client's pricing and the benefits. For instance, someone doing manual labor in their occupation will be put into a completely different classification than your typical CEO. Let's take one example that I get a lot. My client is a business owner. That doesn't tell me too much about the client. Okay. The client's the president of a manufacturing company. How many employees does he have? 1. What industry is he working in? Volatile chemicals. Where's the location of his business? His home basement. As you can see, your client's title of business owner means very little when it comes to disability classifications. Let's go into this a little further. Some of the information that insurance companies are going to be looking for specifically are, what are your client's duties? Are they office? Are they managerial? Are they manual? Do they supervise people doing manual duties? Travel. Most insurance companies have a 25% threshold for travel. The reason for this is simply because if you have a client that is getting on a plane, a train, or an automobile and is traveling 25% or more of the time, they have a greater likelihood of probably becoming disabled. Is your client a is your client an office or a home-based employee? If they're an employee, there's no restrictions. If self-employed and out 40 to 50% of the time and they're seeing clients. If they've been in business for 2 years and have tax returns showing income, or if they work from home but they're not self-employed. So for instance, you could work for Hewlett-Packard, work out of your home, but you're a W-2 employee and you have proof of your income. Self-employed and working from home can make carriers nervous, so they will put certain restrictions on policies for these types of situations. The rationale behind the restrictions is because they cannot contact an employer or a fellow colleague to see how the client is progressing in the recovery from whatever disability they're suffering from. In other words, there's no eyes or ears on the person since they're working at home. Occupation definitions is an important tool because it impacts the benefits your clients receive at claim time. These definitions can be incorporated into the company's policy where every insured may have the own OCC definition, or it can be added as a rider. The first definition we're going to talk about